her old hometown. And we've been friends ever since then. So we've gotten to go through a lot of life together. So I'm so excited for her to take this new venture on, to do her book and her Facebook Live. And there's just a whole community of people that she's getting to, that the Lord's using her to reach. And I'm excited to be a part of that today. So yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
a little bit about us.
So, Annie, share a bit about, okay, actually your background, like literally your background with these tubs. Share where you are, and then if you could, and then we'll rewind and kind of
Okay,
share. You can start whatever season you like to, but
sure.
where you kind of got to this.
Okay, so I'm actually in the storeroom of the nonprofit that I started in 2016. So we've been around now almost 5 years in March. It's Fostering Hope, um, and we serve children in crisis. So we actually are on the front lines with social workers and foster parents, to serve children when they're removed from home. As of now, the state of Oklahoma does not provide emergency funds for children. So they usually take whatever's on their backs, as most of you know that, or whatever they can carry in a trash bag. And typically, when we get the children here, they don't even have shoes on. Um, my background is in early childhood development. I was a teacher before I stayed home with our children, and really felt like that was the season of life that I was meant to be in, for the time. I kept myself open to other ideas, but this just kind of landed in our laps. We didn't even realize that emergency funding was not provided for foster children when we started in 2016, and it started with a Sunday school project with CASA. We collected suitcases for children, and started with one room in a storage building, and now we've moved to two buildings, and we're faith-based, so we give out four different age developmentally appropriate Bibles to children from 0 to 18. We do devotionals and every other essential you can imagine. Behind me right here are diapers, and preemie size diapers all the way up to size 5. If I gave you a tour here, you'd see lots of hair supplies and new underwear and socks and blankets, and um, every kind of toiletry known to man. Diaper bags, anything that children need. Another thing that's really important is they all need their own bedding when they go to a home. They have to have their own sheets. And so, one thing we really pride ourselves on is that we try to be intentional and let everyone know out there. I feel like I'm kind of a gap, a bridge builder, or filling in the gaps, and just telling the story of orphans here in our state, and just giving them a platform to have their voices be heard, and being almost like their storyteller to be able to serve their needs and partner with the Lord and his work here. And in our state, we don't just serve children in our town. We serve children all over the state. Anyone that needs help, we provide emergency funds. And then in March, we started a new project. It's a birthday project. A lot of children that we're serving, that we're seeing, honestly, within the last month, there was a family. The mom and dad had four children. They did not know two out of the four children's birthdays. So that is what we're dealing with. So you see, like, in one day, you see really, really horrible, sad things like that. And then you see beautiful acts of God just coming together to make this kind of thing happen. But the birthday project is a birthday party that we throw for them. So we do birthday gifts, we do an outfit, we do a birthday cake that a local baker makes for them as well. So that's a new kind of a new branch of our tree. The Fostering Hope logo is a tree, and it's from the Bible verse in Jeremiah that talks about taking care of widows and orphans. So that's kind of or actually Isaiah, that's kind of where we started, but we've branched out into other areas as well. And we can talk about a little bit later about the Fostering Hope House, which is next.
And I know personally how there's been kids that have come to you, like literally knocked on your door.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how I mean, small itty bitty children,
Yes.
that have walked and have known that this place, this house, this place would be help for them, is a
Yeah.
safe place for them. How did they even know?
Well, I actually had a little girl here yesterday that had turned 3 in March, and the foster mom brought her in. And so it's word of mouth. We're on Facebook and Instagram, so foster families can find us, churches find us. other nonprofit organizations find us. CASA Kids Space is another one here in Muskogee. And they have also partnered up with us. But DHS is a big, they also use our services a lot. But the little girl was here yesterday, and she walked in this room and saw all the toys and the birthday gifts and all of these fabulous new items, new underwear and socks. And she, out of everything here, she really wanted the Play-Doh. And the Play-Doh was is a special kind of Play-Doh that was a dentist's mouth with teeth that you could make and mold. And so she got to have that, and she played with the ball. And the best thing I think was that we had someone donated a costume for Halloween, and it was Rapunzel, and it was a new costume. It still had the extra pieces that go with it. I think there's a crown and maybe a little hair extension or something. And the little girl had never worn a dress before. And so she had literally not taken that dress off all day long, her foster mom told us. So that's what I mean about just making sure that each child knows that they're special and that they're unique. And every 3-year-old needs the Rapunzel dress if they want a Rapunzel dress. We feel like that we need to be able to love on them in a way that's, tangible, and that, just at the end of the day, know that they're loved.
So, yes, right now in this season, for almost 5 years, God has been using you to bring renewal, rebirth, reset, redemption to so many people's hearts, lives, bodies, souls, spirits. And how did you get here? When did it begin? Like, did you have a heart's desire since you're a little, like, and I will say this, and we don't have to unpack this fully, but I know that, well, I'll just, how did that happen? Did you have a dream in your heart to always connect with children, or did you have a desire in your heart to meet the needs of the broken, of those in bondage, those in captivity? Like, where do you feel like the shifts began for you?
I laugh. I talked to Kristen just recently. I remember hearing that "We Are the World" when I was probably, this dates us, I know, because we're over 40, but it was in the second grade, and it was a bunch of different people that sang "We Are the World," and it was to offer relief to children in Ethiopia. And I'd never seen a child like that I'd seen on the news and in the newspaper, and there are these starving children. And I just remember talking to my parents about it and making it even a video about wanting to help. So I think even as a young age, I wanted to do something, but I know I struggled in school. It was not always easy for me. And so I didn't really know how to put the pieces together to run a nonprofit. I think even from the beginning with my background in teaching, I just knew I wanted to help. The one thing I did learn was the Lord, I felt like, gave me different words like every year. And one was abide. Like for the last few years, it was abide. And so I really unpacked that and really tried to just cling to that word and look at it from the Bible standpoint and see what that means. And it means to stay connected to Him. And so if I didn't know anything else, how was I going to get the size 5 underwear? Or this child that's coming in tomorrow is a man-sized shoe and he wears a size 12, or whatever it was. I knew I just needed to stay connected to God, and that He was going to show me that next step. I didn't have to have all of those, those pieces of the pie figured out. I laugh though. It is like a puzzle piece. I've learned to be a grant writer. That was not in my forte. I have learned to be much more just organized in running a business. That was not something, but the Lord has offered up people to help, to serve alongside me, which I am so grateful for. I say I see the worst of humanity in a day and the best, because I literally have seen I just feel like that it's ripe, and that we need to act now, and that there's people out there that need help, and they want to know that they're loved and that there's a place for them at the table. So I laugh right now, next door in my office. My mom's at my desk working on my newsletter that I've written. We've written together, and then she's tweaking it. She was an English teacher. I mean, how amazing is that? So she's looking over it. And then my sweet friend Jeannie was a Sadler Arts Academy mom with me in the PTA. And so she's worked for me now for a year. We're running an event right now. We have to do it even with COVID, with Goat Fest. So she's working on Goat Fest right now. We're doing that remotely, our fundraiser, which is our one event for the whole year. So that you have to have a sense of humor with it, because sometimes I don't even know how things are going to happen. But I just have to keep connected to the vine and knowing that God's going to take me to that next step.
And because I 100% agree, and I do love, obviously being your friend, I do love how you have stayed. There's been so much depth of intimacy with you and Jesus in this storyline. It's just been my favorite part, and absolutely, I love through that intimate relationship, that conversation, that connection. He has used you like it looks like 50 Annies out there, like the way
Mm.
I'm seriously all that you're doing and the lives that you're touching and how much you've gotten done. And it's an answer to prayer for me, a personal prayer of that you've had help from others and you have
Yeah,
help from others.
I couldn't do it on my own. I can't.
At the same time, I love that you haven't just, you're just not just getting things done, that you are growing in intimacy in fellowship with Jesus. And so I love that. That's a huge part. I think so many people step into expanding their territory, if they will, but
Hmm.
lose the intimacy, lose the conversation, lose the depth. And so how have you been able to maintain that?
Well, I will say I can tell when I'm trying to do it in my own strength, and that wind in your sails is just not there. And so I have started taking walks again. I'll listen to a podcast and just get in the word every day. And it has not been easy. I'm not going to tell you this has been just, you know, just a walk in the park, because I have blood, sweat, and tears over this place. And then I would say too, trying to balance family life. We have, my husband and I have 2 children. We will have been married 20 years in December. It's become a family affair. It's become a friend thing. It's become a church thing. It's a statewide project at this point. So just trying to keep all the wheels on. I'm sometimes not the best at doing all of that. So I've had to surrender a lot to the Lord and just ask for help.
Yeah, amen.
And also, I also do Instacart, so that's really helped. That's been new since COVID.
But
They
like
deliver
the
groceries.
grocery, you
Yeah,
mean, okay, nice,
I'm
awesome,
having to streamline a lot. And I used to cook. Kristen
amen.
knows, like it was like every night I'd cook, and so now I've learned a lot about streamlining meals too, and maybe doing some on the weekend. And my husband doesn't get home from work till late, so just trying to like balance, have our kids, make a meal and learn how to do that in the kitchen, and just everyone be involved. I will say too, I knew even from college that when I was going to have my own children and have a life with my husband and a family, that I was called to serve others. And
Amen.
I felt that in that the oaks of righteousness verse in Jeremiah that talks about that you're going to be a covering for others and your roots have to grow really deep. So I knew I could not partner. I needed God to partner with me, and I knew I couldn't do it on my own. Um, so
And so I do appreciate you saying how, yes, the blood, sweat, and tears, and it's not just out of effort. You have, it's your soul also have been so impacted because this is not just crossing T's and dotting I's, meeting needs. I mean, you have shared um, stories and circumstances that need angelic activity upon them.
oh yes,
They need the realms of heaven in order
yes,
for
to
these
come down.
children.
Yes, it's
And so,
palpable almost sometimes, because some when children come through here, we've served over 1,000 children since we've started. Um, you just feel such a sadness for them, and you can just tell the lights left in their eyes, and you just want to just squeeze them up and hold them and know that you're fighting. You got the sort of the spirit going on in here in the spiritual world, because you're breaking through some barriers for them. You're planting a seed. Maybe we're watering it. Maybe we're planting that seed. Maybe later on, this is going to bloom and grow. But um, it's important that those children know that they're children of God, and there are people out there that believe in them.
and loved. Yeah. See,
And what I've
and
learned too,
love.
DHS really needs they need believers to come up and partner up, whether that's in the watering part of the ministry or whatever it is. They need people to come up and just armor them up and love on them. And that's this next phase that we're doing with the Fostering Hope House. That's going to minister to DHS as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful to see them, right? To see
Right.
there's not just a gear in the system, but the
Right.
people and how, and that's what I do think. And we've talked about this. You see people They're
That's
seen
that's
and
the
they're
goal.
loved. They're not just moving parts in a factory.
And
They're seen and loved by you.
well, and with COVID too, a lot of the DHS offices have had to work remotely. And so they are not seeing children and they're having to work at it alone. Just this month, we've done probably 35 bags for emergency bags for children because children are being seen again. So I know that those workers that are seeing this, that are on the front lines, they need support just like the children do.
So the two main things I would say we focus on in the Choose Life is making Choose Life choices, which is saying a proper Choose Life choice is a spirit, soul, body integration. And that spirit is that conversation, the communication, the intimacy with Jesus. And then in the soul, affecting you, like his thoughts, his ways, overflowing you, and then the body, your action. And I've seen you do that in all, like you and your business and how you're daily, like the list is daily, it's long, and all that you're doing, all of the yeses, all the Choose Life choices you've made in order for this. But another aspect of this Choose Life umbrella is how you've personally overcome and how that authority, because of you overcoming in your story, like the power and the authority, the life, peace, and joy that you're able to offer others. And
Mm-hmm.
so with every person you connect with, whether it's a DHS worker, your husband, your children, your family, your friends, the kids, whether it's direct or indirect, you know that you are offering and the more of it, there is an authority, there is a power of heaven because of your overcoming. And I would love to share how you overcame. You don't have
Sure.
to, you can share as much as you want. You don't have to share the what even, but we know that your breakthrough will empower others to break through
Yes.
the story. So
Yes.
I would love to share that or hear
Sure.
it from you.
So I hadn't even thought about this until I was talking to my daughter this morning about our conversation with you. And one thing that's something physical was I was born with a heart defect that we didn't know about until I had Annabelle. And she's 16 now, and I couldn't breathe, and my lungs were filling up with water. We didn't know what was happening. My heart was skipping a beat, and so I ended up getting tested and doing numerous tests throughout a period of a few months. And I had something called PAPVR, and I was not getting enough oxygen, and the blood flow was backed up in my body. So I literally, if we would not have found that with Annabelle, I literally would have died. So I went to OU and had open heart surgery. So that was done as a grown up. And typically, people that have this sometimes don't even make it up to adulthood.
Yeah.
So I know God spared my life for a reason. But I will say, um, I'm learning no matter what season we're in, God can use us. You don't have to run a nonprofit or have,
Yeah.
these children that you're doing and that you're this ministry that you're doing with these children. You can do it in your own bedroom or at home and in your own way that's maybe I guess catered just for you that God has, lined out just that he's created you for. I don't mean to say that it's something that's going to be like, that it doesn't always have to look the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is big. I forgot. What a big season. You're right. Where your life was on the line.
yeah, and I have a scar now every day that I can see and think, you know what? Thank you, Lord, that
Mhm.
that you were able to that you're not able, but that we were able to find this, and that you used the Lord, that the Lord used the doctors to fix it.
100%. And just that your gratitude and your love. I remember your affection for him was so deep because of how long you had progressed in your life
Oh my gosh, no,
with this going on.
I know. So that I was definitely a miracle for sure to a miracle adult, I guess, to live that long with us. So that was the one thing. And then I would say too, I really struggled with depression, and Kristen knows this after our son was born. And I don't think it was postpartum. I just think it was just a lot of life changes. And I know that coming out on the other side, that God saw me through it. And I wish there's a formula or a recipe to give someone to say it's going to get better and this, and this is all you have to do. But a lot of that was just getting on my hands and knees and getting the help that I needed.
And I would say that that is the two things I've seen from you. It has been like so much of your victory story.
Mm-hmm.
One is absolutely giving yourself fully and surrendering yourself fully
Yeah.
to the Lord, whatever the situation is,
Yes.
whether it's the needs for the nonprofit or the needs for the family or the needs for like, okay, my soul, my emotions, I'm feeling different in this
Yeah.
season. And
Right.
then the other thing is you're not afraid to ask for help. And I think
Yeah.
that's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. The Lord
Mm-hmm.
has used obviously others to bring some fullness and health and healing. And you've done that. You've like, you are.
Well, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it anymore. And I was so afraid of it at the time. And I think too, I was wrapped up in just despair. Honestly, I told her yesterday, once I finished college, I graduated from OU, got married, we had our children. I was like, okay, what's next? What's next? And I felt like I just got in a season of despair because I thought that I was just going to be in the trenches forever and that I didn't really have my own life. And I wanted that life so badly as a family and to be a wife and a mother, but I just didn't have any of my own identity at that time.
Mhm,
And so I would say, wherever you are, you need to be content with, because you never know where the Lord's going to take you. And
mhm.
I would say too, I had to do my homework and just really sink my teeth into the Word and just staying connected in a way that I knew where my worth was and didn't have to look like it was as a mother or as a person. Like I already was a child of God, and so working through that really helped me. Um,
100%. I would say that also just as your friend and navigating through that, it was an identity thing. At the same time, I remember like you could feel the Lord upon you, and you
yeah,
knew there was something else,
yes.
and there was something else, and you were really wanting to say yes and respond to it, but you couldn't see this picture. This was the
No.
picture you're
And I
seeing.
was not ready. The Lord really did spare me because my children were littler 5 years ago. And even before then I would not have been ready um to create something like this. So yeah, I mean I think I you just can't even take something for granted at the time when you're in a certain season, because he's not gonna he's not gonna waste it.
So what would you say? I think that is actually very, very practical for so many moms, especially as things when the days are long, but
Yeah.
fast, right? When it's in that toddler season, when they know God, they value and love and are so happy to maybe even stay at home or be at
Yeah.
home because
Yeah.
of distance learning, whatever. They're so thankful they're in that season with them. However, they
But
know
it's
there's
hard.
something
It's
else pulling on.
practically really hard. I would say, even if you have to do it minute by minute, just find some things you're grateful for, and you will start to. It's like a catapult, and it pushes you to that
Mhm.
next chapter where you can just. There's like a chipping off of self, where you can kind of help you see the bigger picture and really where you are, with whatever season of life you're in.
Amen. And so in your identity, I just want to go back to that. You're a fabulous actually wife and mom, and you love being a wife and mom, but your identity really was clinging to the Lord and letting him speak over you. And this is actually the part that I didn't say earlier. I mean, and one of your beautiful gifts is like if hearing God's voice, you are a seer and you do have just a strong prophetic lens. So the Lord was showing you pictures of far out.
Yes. Yes.
So, which makes it a little bit hard to steward and manage. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I want to just, that was, and obviously he can trust you with that. He can trust you with a long-term vision of things and you still stay in the today.
That
Um,
is hard. And that I feel like that's something that I've really tried to work on, is that relationship with the Lord, and just to do the next thing. And even if maybe I think there's something coming on the horizon, not that I know what's going on, but sometimes I feel like the Lord speaks to us and I in different ways. And so it might not happen, for 20 years or whatever. And so it's once again just being grateful for wherever you are at that very moment. And
amen.
also I'd say too, my children with COVID and everything going on and just the stressors of what the unknown is, taking walks and having them pick out things they're grateful for. And it might even start with like Oh, the cloud in the sky. You know what? That looks like a goldfish in the sky. What else can we find? Okay, that's a tree. What are we grateful for? Oh, we love those clouds up there. How amazing is that? He's made them looking like a goldfish or a tree or whatever the object is. Um, and just being able to take note of where God is around us.
Um, so our choose life choices, that verse, Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 19, today, call heaven and earth as witnesses, set before you life and death, blessings and curses. So choose life so that you and your children may live. Your choose life choices, I have seen the impact and influence and beauty already upon your daughter and son. But I would love, and I feel like when we choose life and the power of that, it does accelerate things for other people's story. It does catapult them for other story.
Mm-hmm.
Our choose life choices causes them, whoever the them is, even those
Mm-hmm.
watching today, will cause them to be someplace they wouldn't be without our choose life choices.
Mm-hmm.
So, specifically, your children, I would love to hear in your words how you've seen an acceleration, whether it's in mercy or compassion. Have you seen a catapulting in them that's beyond their years?
I have seen wisdom in my daughter that she surprises me sometimes because, and Kristen and I laugh, but she does seem like that of a 70-year-old woman sometimes. And even like by her words and the things that she chooses to read and to think on, and her friend choices. And I think, and then with our son, there's a tenderness there for the Lord. And my heart is that he would grab onto them, that the Lord would just that draw them in so much that they'd want to also serve the Lord, and that Greg and I can continue to shepherd and be that covering for them. So
Amen.
I want to say real quick before we get off the phone, we are starting. This is amazing. So next door, I just want to be really brief about this, but
Well, share.
next door to us, there's a there's a renovation project going on, just a little renovation. So how this all started was last year about this time we helped a little 8-month-old boy that was at DHS, and we brought him our bag full of hope, is what we call it, which is our emergency bags with supplies for the baby, with formula and everything that the child will need. And he looked just so discouraged, and he was less than a year old, and his little eyes were just sunken in, and I could tell he was hungry. He was down in his little bottle, and he was covered in like a yucky film. And so I said, why does he look so dirty? And the social worker said, well, we don't have a bathroom to bathe children at DHS, so we have to bathe them in the public restroom in the sink there. And I could not believe that in the state of Oklahoma and in our country, we don't have working bathrooms with bathing facilities for children. You could have picked my jaw up off the floor, and I just thought, oh my gosh, this baby deserves more than this, other than a kitty cat bath in the public sink. So put that at the back of my head. I talked to Jeannie, who works for me, and just kind of bothered me, and I just didn't know how to get around it. And then I realized that when children are placed in DHS, it's already traumatic enough. They've pulled them out of their homes. They have to sit for up to 12 hours in a cubicle with their worker. There's not like a living room or a playroom or anywhere cozy for children to go and wait. Put that on the back burner. So someone stepped up and said, we want to help you. We want to help pay for this. We'll have the state pay it back, though. So there's lots of details, lots of red tape that we're going to go through, and we're going to do it at DHS. Well, that fell through. So I just tabled it. Well, fast forward to about February, March, and my cousin, who doesn't live here, her dear friend that she was raised with in Muskogee, called and said, we want to help support you with this project. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. This is not even on my radar. And so I just kind of started from there, and they helped serve in a little bit here and helped with payroll 1 month for Jeannie, and did some bags and helped with that. So I just kind of left it at that. Well, they called me back and they said, we want to do the capital funding for the renovation of this building next door. And we want to do it all privately and without any public money, because we're faith-based. And so I was awestruck. And so fast forward about 2 months later, we had a family give us a building next door to Fostering Hope that's 1,800 square feet. And then another family came in behind them, the same family, and they are paying for the build out and the renovation of the entire space.
Amen.
So we started this summer. We are fully almost renovated. We are putting the IKEA furniture, and the movers are about to kill me because it's been so much of a pain, because IKEA furniture is horrible to put together.
And I wanted to share the glory of that story, because obviously in 2020, places are
Oh my
shutting
gosh,
down. Plus,
shutting
are
down.
our places are being confined and
Right.
constrained. And that you just in the Annie I've seen over the last 35 years, right? That we've done so, that you're expanding territory. You, like, in the midst of
It's a joke though. This is only the Lord, right? I mean, like,
of the
who
Lord,
in their right mind would do this during COVID?
but it's your yes also.
Yeah.
And how you have made, yes, choose life really practical, really simple. You're going to just lean into it, and you're going to let the burden come. Like, you're not going to dismiss it.
Right.
It's a big part of the bringing the change, letting the burden come, letting that, and so when at times when it doesn't look practical, and
Oh my God,
you're going to widen your tents, you're going to expand your territory.
He is faithful. That's what I've seen. Oh my gosh, over and over again, that He is faithful and that He's going to see to it. If this has been His will, He will make it happen. And that I've had to rest in that, because I've gone to bed at night thinking, how are we going to do? How are we going to pay to keep the lights on? And we have a business plan. I have a board. We're a 501c3. We have our own website. All of that. You have to get your ducks in a row in that way. That's why we do Goat Fest, to plan our event and raise support that way and write tons of grants. I don't mean it's a lot of hard work too, but in the middle of it, you have to know that God's hand is leading all of this.
So I want to put up on the screen where people can go to help with, yes, how the Lord is really so many things through your hands and feet, truly, whether it's connections with the children, with the DHS, with the government, with the program. Yeah. You are in a place of honoring so many churches. And
well, we're not a state-run program. I mean, we are going to be the people's program. And now this Hope House is going to have a bathing facility. It will have a living area where children can sit and wait for placement. And it is really nice. It's beautiful. And so these children are going to feel safe, seen, heard, and loved.
So where can they go to help?
Okay, so go to fosteringhopemuskogee.org. And we are on Facebook and Instagram. And we're actually doing our event right now, COVID style, with Goat Fest. Every year we have goat yoga, and we invite foster children and to come join us. And we have an outdoor carnival and a petting zoo. Kristen's come with her girls, and we couldn't do that this year. We couldn't partner with any churches or businesses to do that. So that's all online. And we're actually making Goat Fest goodie bags for all the foster children within this area. And so churches and DHS, they're going to come to the Hope House next month, and we're going to give them Bibles and all kinds of fun things, just to, in the middle of COVID, just to show them that, that we haven't forgotten about it.
And I want to just highlight that in Muskogee, and what would you say the population of Muskogee is?
Oh, close to 50,000.
That you have become, just out of your just simple yes to the Lord and your intimacy with Him, you have become the go-to place for a number of churches in order to help, in order to serve orphans, in order to serve foster children. I mean, like you are their ministry. That's important to them too, because the Lord said,
God's church. Even from the beginning, I never wanted this to be from my church. It was all of our mission, and this is a project that we can all
as one. Yes. And there's a lot of talk about how God's body comes together as one, and you have made it easy for them to come together as one. And you're right, it's church upon church upon church upon church.
It is
beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Really, it and that's hard to do. It's hard to find unity in the body of Christ, because there's a lot of names that want to be on it. There's a lot of opinions of how it looks and but you've been such a place of honor and invitation where they have all come to the table and been able to serve and bless.
Well, Good. That's our goal. And what's amazing too is this new house. We're gonna have if anybody's around and they live in around Muskogee and Tulsa, Oklahoma City, we're gonna have a ribbon cutting in November, and so we can give tours, and we're also gonna be able to have volunteers that can meet children where they are, and they can offer, once we get going, emotional and physical and mental support. And what's even better is we have a kitchen in there too. So we'll have churches and other groups, which, I that's my heart, is to
Good.
be able to prepare meals. And
Mhm.
so now we'll have a meal for these children and the DHS worker. We can give them a cup of coffee or just sit down with them and visit with them while we're waiting on
Beautiful.
placement, while they're waiting the 12 hours. They'll have somewhere to go. And because DHS offices are closing locally, a lot of these places, they don't have anywhere for the kids to go. Recently, one group was having to sit in a hospital room, and they had multiple children there. So there's just no reason why can't make this better for foster kids.
So ultimately, what would be your ask? You're inviting other people to be a part of this story, and what would be your ask so they can?
Just to link arms with us, and to support the foster children within our our state, our country, our world. I
Amen.
mean, and like our page. I mean, I know that's crazy, but it seems like social media really picks up, and
Mhm.
that's how we're getting the word spread.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
And
so
pray,
much.
lots of prayers. We
Thank
definitely have a lot going on right now, and I want to continue to just go where God's leading us.
And I would say that absolutely. I mean, we know in Romans 8, it says, the sons and daughters of God are those who are led by the Spirit of God. And that is you, because absolutely the Lord gave you pictures and scenes
Yes.
throughout your life.
Yes.
And you have stayed so close and connected to Him. But this was never necessarily a passion.
No,
Like,
we didn't even know about foster children. Honestly, I thought every child would get their own bag when they were placed in foster care in 2016. No.
and it came from a place of like, this isn't right, and
Right.
I'm tired of them being labeled trash bag kids with
Right.
their trash bag of a few items.
Right.
And it was just in a place of letting God's Spirit pivot you, shift you, move you, say yes. And those were your choose life choices, that spirit, soul, body, like His leading, overflowing your thoughts and desires and emotions into finally body, into action.
It
Those
was
were
like a springboard. It really was, for hope, for lots of different reasons. So fostering hope is, yeah,
thank
it's
you
been
for
incredible.
sharing
Yes.
how you've chosen life and all the choose life choices you've made, how it's impacting and influencing now. It is our honor to partner with you. So I do invite whoever's listening, if you feel just a connection, just seize the moment and go to fosteringhopemuskogee.org and seeing how you can be a blessing, and saying yes to what God is nudging inside you. So I love you.
I love you. Thanks so much for having me on today. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Love you.
Uh-huh.
I'm proud
Bye.
of you. All right. Bye.
Bye.